Welcome back to the final part of episode 10 of the Fanboys Anonymous For Real Movie Club podcast for January. We're talking thrillers, and we've gone through horror thriller, we've gone through crime psychological thrillers, we've gotten the neo-noir messed up editing thrillers, and now we are on mystery thriller. I guess they technically classify it as Oldboy, the 2003 version from South Korea. Now, we need to specify that because there is a 2013 remake of this with Josh Brolin, and it's made by Spike Lee, and apparently is god-awful, so I'm not going to be checking that movie out. But as you are the one who picked these films out, Caroline, hit us with a little bit of Oldboy.
Okay, cool. So, Oldboy is a story about this guy who is pretty much like a drunk, not such a great dad, possibly not a great human being, but out of nowhere one night he's kidnapped and he ends up being in prison for 15 years in this really weird prison/hotel room, with no explanation whatsoever. All of a sudden he's released and he's given some money, a cell phone, and that's that. So he has no idea what's going on, and he decides to go look for his daughter and his wife's killer. But things are definitely way more complicated than he would imagine, and he'll soon figure out what really happened and why he was kept prisoner for all those years. So that's it. Oh, and it's also the second installment of the Vengeance trilogy. First one is Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, and the third one is Sympathy for Lady Vengeance, which was really cool too.
Are they all connected? Or is it just kind of like this director did Vengeance movies? And
yeah, it's I mean, it's connected on the Vengeance motif, but
not like storyline.
No, you can definitely, they're standalones really. You can definitely watch them out of order or not watch, the other two to get what Oldboy is about and so on. And this one is also a South Korean movie, so yay, Koreans are awesome.
Well,
South Koreans are awesome.
Yeah, we need to specify that. So I am going to purposely not mention many character names in this because I guarantee I'm
I was kind of like, should I say it? I am probably going to butcher those names. Odesu?
Odaisu?
Odesu?
Good old Johnny boy. I could get Mito right.
Yeah.
Mito. I'll mention Mito quite a bit, but when we start getting into Lee Woo-jin and
that guy.
Yeah. Park is one guy, I think. Or is that...
He's the director.
Oh, the director. Yeah, okay. So, forewarned about that when it comes to that kind of thing. But, Eddie, what were your first thoughts of watching Oldboy?
I was just kind of bored one day and I rented this movie. Just for the heck of it. I was like, whatever, I'll watch an Asian movie, see what the big deal is. I think this is the first Korean movie I've ever seen. It's about 4 years ago, and then it caught me by surprise. I wasn't expecting something this of this quality, of this magnitude. I mean, usually when I see foreign movies, be them European or Asian, it's usually very, slow, not very action based and all that. But this one has like shootouts and all that, and a lot of different environments, different places, and there's flashbacks and gets very psychological too. So it totally caught me by surprise, and though it's really dark and stuff, and sometimes even fantastic when you think of the magnitude of the revenge being taken. Sometimes you got to remember that in Asian culture, people really will go out of their way to pull off one specific action. It's crazy.
And honor, of course, is a huge factor.
Oh,
which
dogmatic to the last.
yeah does not translate as much to the American audience.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I grew up with a lot of Japanese stuff, so I understand why. I understand the possibility of this, right? And I don't think I'm not sure the average person in the West would totally buy into it.
What about you, Caroline? First thoughts when you first watched Old Boy?
Well, I had heard a lot about the movie from my Asian friends, and they were like all 50-50. Like some people, they either loved it or they hated it. So I was like, okay, why would you hate it? It's like, oh, it's too disturbing. Like, done. I need to watch this movie. So I actually went and actually bought it even before watching it, and I was not disappointed. I'm a big fan of horror, like Asian horror movies, and Koreans tend to be one of my favorites. This one's not a horror movie. It's disturbing though. So I once I watched it and figured it out what was going on, I could definitely understand why some of my more conservative friends did not appreciate it. Um, it's pretty cool. Like I loved it. There were times where I felt like I was kind of watching something kind of like Kill Bill, but on like ecstasy, like on high speed, like something like crazy.
I can see that.
And I am all about it. Like I love that they went full on it. Like they actually took incest and made it like freaking cool in a way that I don't mind watching it. It was so cool. Like I really loved that when we first see the main character, we don't really like. I didn't really like him. It was like kind of like, ugh, this is gonna be our main character. Like he can barely stand up right now. Is he gonna be drunk throughout the whole movie? And just like being with him in that little room and seeing him go through all the stage. It was like he went kind of from the stage. He went through the stages of grief. Like first he was really angry, had no idea what was going on, and then he kind of became this little like puppy dog, just very depressed, and like all of it. It was magical to me. Like I really loved it, and just the whole thing with the like how he was like I'm gonna be ruining this movie for a lot of people, hypnotized, and the whole phone thing, and meeting the girl in this sushi bar, the infamous octopus scene. That was actually a real one, and I feel like he actually ate like 4 live ones, because they couldn't get it in a first take. And that's really interesting because the actor is Buddhist, so he actually had to pray after each scene, a single take, because he ate those little guys. But that was so visceral. Like this guy's just been in prison for 15 years, and he didn't even know what he did to get that. And the first thing he wants to do is to eat something alive, to feel that heart pulsating, the blood in his mouth, and that was so cool. And obviously, like the taking out the teeth, and him finding out what the hell happened at the end, and him like choosing something that was very interesting in the end. Like he had to make the choice of remembering or not remembering, and the whole entire time I had no idea what he was gonna choose, because I knew that this guy was broken from the very first scene in the movie. So I knew that his actions were not going to be of somebody who is stable. And I will go on and on about this movie, guys. Sorry. I just really loved it. I'm all about it.
So I'm kind of assuming that we're not going to have too much to talk about when it comes to casting. But does anybody have any notes that they want to throw out there of anybody that could have been playing these characters better or anything? If we do know any South Korean actors.
We know some of the characters that were in the remake, so maybe we could
who would have been better instead of Emily Olsen and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, I was like, I'm not gonna watch this remake because this is ridiculous. But for what I get it, somebody watched it and told me that it's actually a scene by scene remake, and I don't get it. Like, why would you get just because you have to read subtitles, America? Really? Like, can't you just like enjoy a Korean movie and read subtitles and enjoy it? I don't know. Like, I like what's his face, Josh Brolin, but Brolin.
Brolin.
Yeah, Brolin. But when I saw that he was the main guy for the remake, I didn't get it. I think he's like too well put together all the time. And I feel like in the Korean version, that guy is messed up from like the moment we lay eyes on him. He's a mess.
See, I can't think of anybody who I would, at least off the top of my head, who I would cast as a main character. The only thing I could think of for somebody who could play any of the other characters, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have gone with, Samuel L. Jackson as the prison warden or whatever. I would think
Yeah.
when it comes to the daughter, my gut reaction would be Emma Watson. And it
Okay.
seems like a maybe a
Yeah.
weird choice, but one of
I think she would carry it.
she's a better actress than she gets credit for, I think.
Yeah.
And there's something about Mito that she's adorable. Like,
Her submissive ass. She's
I-
so cute.
yeah, I don't. It's not the submissive act kind of thing. That's not it. Like, I know a lot of people probably that's like a huge thing for them. That doesn't really do it for me. Just her in general. Like, she is gorgeous.
Yeah, she really is. She really is. She looks like a doll, which I feel like maybe that's why they really like. Okay, it's hard because like I feel like most Korean actresses they all look like dolls. They have like flawless skin, flawless hair, beautiful eyes, like beautiful everything. But yeah, you're right. Like she's really cute.
Mm-hmm. And she's got like a childish kind of quality, but in a way that's not creepy. So
Right.
like I
It's
knew very early on in this movie, I was like, well, this is definitely going to be the daughter. Like,
Yeah.
they're not mentioning anything with the daughter specifically, and he's
Right.
going to end up fucking his daughter. Like, it's going to happen. But at the same time, I was like, hey, good for you, guy. Like, it's a horrible thing to say, but I was just kind of like, hey, yeah. Mito practically says, I might say no, but just give it to me. And it's like, you fucking give it to her, Daisu. Like, what about you, Eddie? Anybody that you think could play these characters from the American side of things?
No, I have no desire to. I don't like American versions of this or that. I haven't seen the original Vanilla Sky, but I mean I like the American version, but I suppose if I saw the original, I might not have liked it. Just it's like the most ridiculous. What was it? The girl with the dragon tattoo. Like, why the hell would you make a remake of that? I don't get it.
So that's a movie I
I don't
haven't
get it.
seen either version of them, but
No, well, watch the original. You don't have to watch the
yeah, I've
American.
heard that the American one sucks.
You don't have to watch the American version. The originals are great. The trilogy is great. The original trilogy is great.
So the casting side of things, that brings us into music. I'm gonna say I think the music here is 50-50. The very first scene throws me off, but there are scenes where I dug the music.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a cultural thing, I don't know, but that was a little odd for me sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Of course, I don't have a clue what the Spike Lee version is, and I highly doubt that I like that version better. But
Oh my god. Why?
is anything like the music in what's it called? What's that one Spike Lee movie? The one that I hate, everybody loves. Do the Right Thing.
Do the right thing?
I hate that movie with a passion.
Why?
Wait, is it the one? Is it the one with the pizza place and then
Yes.
somebody breaks in it?
Pizza and Heat. New York Heat.
I think it's so overrated. That made me hate Spike Lee, and I haven't even watched like anything else that he's done.
No. It was alright. It was alright.
The only good thing about that
movie
movie is Giancarlo Esposito. Everything else is terrible. But the music for Oldboy, what do you think about that, Eddie?
Yeah, I think like you mentioned, there's a cultural difference. There's definitely a cultural difference. It's realized that it's not. I mean, you're working with a culture that praises the West a lot more than you might imagine. But at the same time, there's a lot of tradition in it, So like sometimes they kind of lose focus as to should you just maintain it, keep it simple? Should you keep no music here? Should you put music there? It's a completely different approach. Is it should put something modern? Should put something more traditional, more instrumental? I felt like it was a little bit. There's nothing wrong with it because I get it. I get that background. So I'm trying to see more of your point of view. Because to me, I would just say it does its job.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I mean. Like, it's not horribly offensive in any way or whatever. It's just sometimes it's a little bit odd, like weird choices or something.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on that too, Caroline? Same kind of thing, or?
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it both sides. The music didn't really throw me off when I first watched it, just because, like, I feel it's kind of similar in some other horror movies I've seen. Like, some of them go from really creepy tunes to, like, K-pop. So
Gangnam Style in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah, all that glorious stuff. So, and I feel like with Oldboy, there's also this sense of like this highly stylized universe where there is such thing as this jail that you just pay and then you can put somebody for so many years. So it is like a different universe, and maybe like they try to use the music to explore that as well. I mean, I watched some Korean, like I said, like it goes from like really creepy to and I mean
by the way, my favorite impression that has happened on this episode so far, easily that one.
You're welcome.
Screw the Silence of the Lambs impressions. Go listen to this one.
Oh man, oh, Koreans, don't hate me. I love you all.
So general discussion kind of things. Why did they have to kill the dog?
Yeah, I know. Like, I was upset about that. I was upset about the octopi. I mean, octopus in the movie, octopi in the production.
Yeah, that's probably my least favorite scene is that octopus scene.
Yeah, no, that, like, I get it. But to me, it was, like, it upset me. Like, I didn't want to believe it was a real octopus. And then my friend's like, no, that's actually, like, we do that in Korea. We just, like, slice it first. I'm like, oh, what? That doesn't make it, like, less horrible.
Yeah, that's...
But
we just add extra insult to injury by stabbing it before we eat it. Like...
slicing it, like really nicely before eating it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if the dog to me made a lot of sense, but I'm biased about dog deaths in movies. Like that shit just breaks me. Like I can watch humans dying all the time. Like do not show me like one of those SPA commercials. Like you're gonna put me in a hell. Like I can't deal. But like the octopus scene, like that to me was like very visceral. Like it didn't. I guess it disturbed me a little bit, which is hard because like I don't feel like a lot of stuff disturbs me anymore. But that was like, oh my god, he's actually eating. He cannot. No, he just pretend. No, he's actually eating it. Wow. But I don't dislike that scene. It was just hard for me to watch when I first watched the movie.
You know, speaking of animals in this, if the octopus scene's not my least favorite scene, I would say it's probably the ant scene. With the train. It's a random fake ant. That really... I watched this movie actually last night from when we were recording this podcast. And I was tired when I started watching the movie. I actually thought that I might be better off watching it earlier today, but I ended up, waking myself up and being able to watch it. And when I got to the ant scene, I was like, wait, I gotta pause this for a minute because I don't know if I fell asleep and something happened.
You're like
yeah, like if I find out that I missed 10 minutes of this movie, and it explains this ant thing. I'm gonna be pissed if I finish this and I don't go back. And I rewatched it from the entire beginning, starting at that scene, and then I was just like,
No.
nope, I didn't miss anything. There's a fucking ant. Okay. So that threw me off. That was odd.
But him like fucking his daughter, that was like fine.
Oh no, because Mito's adorable. So yeah. By that point, I was rooting for the guy. And now the FBI investigation turns to me.
Yeah, I was just gonna, and I'm the weird one, and I'm the creepy one, and the FBI is on my ass. Well, get ready, sir. Get ready.
Two other notes that I had written down, then I'll pass this over to you guys to throw some things out there. Number one out of those two, I really wanted fried dumplings after watching this.
Right?
They looked so good. And he's obviously, he doesn't want to eat them anymore, and I'm just like, well, let's give them to me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they really looked really, really good, and I was like, well, and then I was trying to think, like, wow, if I had to eat fried dumplings for the rest of my life, would I be okay with it? Probably. But, yeah, no, that's like the only problem that I have with like movies like this, or even Italian movies. Like, they always have really good looking food, and I wish I could eat it. I'm rewatching the ant scene right now, and I'm just like trying to imagine your face while watching this.
For what scene? The ant scene. Yeah.
The ant scene.
Well, picture a guy who hasn't shaved in like 3-4 days, hair's all messed up, half it like eyes all tired, and then just being like, huh?
Can I imagine it?
Like I'm thrown out of it already because I had downloaded. Yeah, I'm gonna just say it. I downloaded it. I didn't buy it. A version of this where somebody had a backup track of an English dub, and I listened to about 30 seconds of it and knew that I couldn't do it. So because the acting was so terrible. Oh man, I gotta take a piss though. Like.
Oh, that's magical.
Yeah, it sounds like the main character is voiced by Keanu Reeves or something.
No.
Which probably could be awesome, now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
I would love to watch that movie. There you go. Keanu Reeves could have played the main character in this. Somebody make that one. But, so that threw me off, and then I'm reading the subtitles, and then it was just an ant, and I'm like, what the fuck am I watching here? I'm more confused about this than I am Memento.
One scene. It only took one scene.
The other note that I had written down, which is actually my favorite scene of the whole film, the horizontal fight.
Yes.
That was awesome. That was so stylishly done, and just killer. I love that. I gotta submit that to some other people to check out that are like movie buffs and stuff, and just be like, if you're not going to watch this whole movie, okay, but at least watch this scene.
Yeah, watch this scene.
It's a highlight for sure for me.
Yeah, like I feel like that whole sequence, like even preceding that fight, was pretty cool.
The torture with the
yeah.
teeth out stuff.
Yeah, but it's just so gritty. And it's just like I could almost smell like how gross everybody probably smelled in that scene.
Especially that fat guy.
Oh yeah, of course.
So Eddie, what about you? Any scenes that stood out to you?
Yeah, for once I'm gonna take the spot for this kind of stuff. The part where he cuts off his own tongue was particularly paramount. I don't know why. It was like the triumph of his failure, and the dude's King Jung Tall, Qui Gon, whatever his name is, of his triumph and his revenge. That's where it's revealed. Like, oh, it makes sense now. It's his daughter. And the guy's like, no, please don't tell her. Don't tell her. I'll do anything. Like, cuts off his own tongue. I'm like, dude, I don't know if I'd cut off my own tongue out of desperation, just to prove a point to someone. So please, God, don't. But
yeah, I probably at that point would have been like, I'll just tell her that you lied.
I bought it.
She's gonna believe me more than you.
Well, I'm sure he's got like backup, like blood samples or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. He went through all this
Trust me,
effort. He
these
probably
guys are that guy's a mastermind. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I think that particular scene for some reason was kind of it was the one that made me feel something like, oh shit, like made me feel sorry
Yeah.
for everyone, but also made me feel like, well, fuck all you people.
What about you, Caroline? Any standout scenes?
Well, I feel like trying to think like it's hard for me to like single out one scene. I and it's a weird feeling. Like I don't like the octopus scene, but is that one scene that made me feel disturbed, and that says a lot. Okay, like you know me, like I let some not so great shit everywhere, but that scene to me was pretty cool, and I explained before why. Like this guy was. It was to me. It felt like he went from being buried alive to like trying to feel alive again, and the only way he could feel alive was that if he ate something, that it was still alive. So I like that scene. I kind of also like the whole flashback with the villain and his sister.
Of
Okay,
course
so
you picked that scene.
so pervy, but I thought it was cool because it was the whole entire time they're not going there. No, oh yeah, that's a boob. Oh, they're going there. Oh yeah. So I don't condone incest, but I liked it in that movie. The fight scene was awesome. Um, in a weird way, even him fucking his own daughter was awesome. Oh, I'm so glad my parents are not going to listen to this.
Yes, take the heat off of me.
No, here I'll carry a little bit of weight. Here's the thing. There's something about forbiddenness that makes something hot. Like you will never in your life do it. The hint of it is kind of hot. You know what I mean?
I just like weird shit. I just think it's
There you go.
awesome.
I'm not. You're probably not gonna do weird shit, but to
Well,
fantasize, to toy with it, mentally in a way, is kind of hot. Just basic human psychology. Like
like
whatever's forbidden is hot. It's something you
I
want.
I wonder if the remake was really like a scene by scene. If they actually went that far, or or if they kind of like try to mask it, because this type of like weird shit you see in some Asian movies, but it's still like a big taboo here in America. Like we get like snippets of like some indie movies like doing some like disturbing stuff, but it's more like visually like full on disgusting than the actual like morality of it. So like that was like the only thing that kind of wanted me to watch the remake, but not like too much to actually watch the remake. But
I could
yeah,
see the American version being a lot tamer.
yeah, right?
Like there's an element of like torture almost to that sex scene. Like,
Oh yeah,
she's talking about how it's painful and all that. I don't
it's
think that any of that would end up being in the
painful.
American one. The American one's probably all like sensual music and
More
Emily
like
Olsen's
romantic.
probably was that
What?
what did you say? I didn't hear you.
More like romantic than
Yeah.
actually feeling like, oh my god, this is so wrong. Like, oh, this is not good. It's more like, oh, these two beautiful souls are making love.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. And then it's probably over the top as hell. It cuts to Sam Jackson being Sam Jackson. What the
Yeah.
hell are we watching and shit? Like. But that's I kind of want to check out the movie now just to see the comparison. But from everything that I've been reading online, everything just says that it's awful and that
Yeah.
that it's just as much of a departure from this as this was from the original manga that it was based off of, which I don't know
Right.
anything about that from. neither. But
Apparently, yeah, me neither. I actually didn't even know it was a manga until yesterday when I started reading about it. It's Japanese too. So I'm sure that also brings
That
other
makes sense.
changes to the Korean film.
so let's round this out here. Final thoughts, 0 to 10 score. Eddie, you're up first.
Well, considering this isn't your Hollywood produced kind of thing, it's a foreign film. I'd give it an 8 because I think it's really well produced. And it's got elements of action. It's got elements of, you know, I dare say in the beginning, it's almost romantic comedy, especially when she gives him the medicine.
Yeah, the suppository.
Yeah, it's kind of comical. So I mean, it's a little bit of everything. It's a complete movie, if you will. So yeah, the end. No, props to the directors. I wish I could look up the proper names and all.
Caroline, what's your score?
I'll give it a 9, just because it did disturb me a little bit. It was really fun to watch. Just a cool ass movie that, like, I felt like even though I kept hearing crazy things about it, and I had this like build up idea of what it would be, when I watched it, I didn't feel like I was cheated. I still enjoyed myself, and that was great. Not the most disturbing Korean movie I've seen, but pretty cool nonetheless. Pretty cool.
So I'm gonna go with a 7 out of 10. On par with Misery for me. All of these movies, solid movies. Good picks, Caroline.
Yay! Thank you.
Much better than some of the ones we had for the Christmas one. If you guys listen back to that one.
Oh God, that like was so torture for me to listen to because I just hate Christmas movies.
So we're gonna totally get you on board with one of the romantic comedy ones that we do in the future.
It's just gonna be me complaining the whole entire time. I don't think you want to do that.
Leave us a comment below if you want Caroline to be forced to do those movies.
No.
As punishment for her FBI investigation.
Oh, that's one of my hells. That's just not fun. That's like hell number 5. Okay, so it's like pretty up there. So let's not do that. That's not nice.
That'll round us out, though, for these 4 different thriller movies. 4 thrillers from different sides of things instead of just going with the same type of movie. So there's something for everybody here, I think, for the most part. And if there isn't something for you, then we got another 4-Real Movie Club coming up next month where we're going to be doing the Oscar picks, or at least a couple of them, because we can't do 10. So we'll see what's going on with that. But before we wrap this podcast up, we got one more thing that we got to do, and that is the plug side of things. Promote anything that's going on in your worlds right now. Caroline, we're going to start with you for this one. What do you want to have people out there check out?
Cool. Well, I want people to keep checking out our website, Fanboys Anonymous, and all the cool articles are up there. I'm trying to find something disturbing to write about. I haven't been that good lately about it, so I just need to find something really gross to write about. But it's coming out soon. And check out my website, czoeffects.com. And FBI, if you're listening, don't check out my history on search engines, and that's all.
Eddie?
Yeah, I'm trying to get like a band or 2 working, and I'm looking for a job. The end.
I'm going to pat myself on the back for something that I thought that I was going to be unable to go the whole time doing, but I'll mention it now. I did go all of the Oldboy section without making a joke that Young Boy is better.
That, you know what? That deserves something.
Yeah, that easy pun. It could have made 10 minutes worth of this podcast, but if you like listening to stupid ass puns like that, then you got to listen to some more podcasts that are coming from all the other side of a mango tree. We've got on the wrestling side of things, Smark Out Moment, Smack Talk, the Mega Powers Radio, Monday Night Raw post show. We've got all the other podcasts from Fanboys Anonymous, which There's a list on the website. Go ahead and check them out. And in general, if you want to follow anything else under A Mango Tree, you can follow the Facebook and Twitter accounts for Tony Mango and A Mango Tree, spelled out Toe Ni Mango. Obviously, a little pun there. And A Mango Tree. Put on my name. I can't help myself, guys. I'm sick. But stay tuned to the next podcast that we have coming your way. I'm not 100% sure what that is, but you will see it on fanboysanonymous.com, on the Twitter, the Facebook, and YouTube, and iTunes, and Stitcher, all over the place we are. And stay tuned to the next For Real Movie Club, which is going to be coming in, I think, the 20-something or other on February. We're most likely going to be doing that edition live, and we're also going to be running down a full review of the Oscars podcast. They will do podcasts for the Oscars. In the future, they will, I'm sure. But the full ceremony for the Academy Awards, we're going to do a review point of that. And another group meeting as well, most likely. So if you have any suggestions for any podcast you'd like to see in the future, leave a comment below or leave a comment on fanboysanonymous.com. Thank you to Eddie, and thank you to Caroline for doing this. For all the other fanboys and fangirls that couldn't be here this evening, I'm Tony Mango. This has been another edition of the For Real Movie Club. Keep watching movies, everybody, and keep listening.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
I'm too old for this.
Good day, sir!
You stay classy, San Diego.
Roads? Well, we're going, we don't need roads. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
I'm finished.
That'll do, Pete. That'll do. Hasta la vista, baby.
Hey, everybody! We're all gonna get laid!
You're still here? It's over. Go home.